Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do a character guide on our boy Greg, aka Gilgamesh. So in this video, we are just going to take a look at his best artifacts, his best spheres, and then we are going to do a little showcase and just talk about his kit and how it works. So first, let's go ahead and talk about his artifacts. So for artifacts, you want to go with 3 of Attack 108 and Way of the Hero Boost, 2-star. This raises his Int Brave, Max Brave, Attack, Defense, basically all of his stats by 5% if his HP is max. So that's really the optimal one. You can do Attack Max Brave if you need to, but that Way of the Hero Boost 2-star is very good, so you want to get 3 of those. Then looking at his spheres, he's pretty generic, right? He's pretty much just like a melee damage dealer. So pretty much anything that's going to increase his attack or max brave for like the A skills. So let's see, I just threw some random refined ones that I had on there. So I have Yang's on there. When you do critical hit, you increase your max brave and attack. And then when inflicting break or attacking a target with break, here with Garland, raises attack by 2%. So just anything like that. Like there's so many A spheres, they're so common. Just increases attack and brave damage. That's pretty much what you want to do. For the E slot, a lot of the E slot spheres are based around like doing debuffs and then getting buffed when you do debuffs. I don't feel like Gilgamesh reliably does enough debuffs to put one of those on. So I actually gave him one with a debuff. For me, if I have an E slot that I don't know what to do with, I kind of like putting Ferris on because it just gives like him, it'll put poison in his kit. So then like anytime Gilgamesh does a crit now, he's going to put a little poison on the enemies. So I actually don't mind putting Ferris on. And Ferris is actually a call that can help you cheese some orbs because there's a lot of orbs that want you to do like off-turn damage or like damage due to like a debuff. And so like you can put Ferris on anybody and basically make them work for an orb. So I thought Ferris was a pretty decent little shout out there. Okay, so let's hop in and we'll just jump into a little fight here. We're just going to jump into his own Lufenia. I'm just doing the normal Lufenia, not the plus. We just want to show off his kit. He's fairly simple, pretty easy character to use. Another thing to keep in mind is I do not have his burst, but the burst is, I'll just talk about what the burst does. We don't actually need to see a burst phase for him. All right, so we'll hop in here. Basically, I'll just talk about now while the fight's loading up. So basically, his burst effect basically just adds some generic buffs to the party is pretty much what it does. So he has a BT aura and it gains some stacks, and when it's maxed out, it increases the party's brave and HP damage limit. So it's a decent aura type BT, right? So if you like Gilgamesh and you go all in on him, doing that is just fine. All right, so you're going to see a few different attacks here with Gilgamesh. So he has Kotetsu, Genji Blade, Deathclaw, Wild Dance. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with the LD. So the LD here is, I suppose I misjudged. So let's go ahead and put that on. So basically what the LD does is he gets a new LD buff, and it's going to give him some stat boosts. But the big thing that it does is it changes his HP attack to a random attack. So this is the thing that I'm not like a big fan of with Gilgamesh, is that he has a little bit of RNG to his kit. But it definitely can work if you like that, right? So we'll go ahead, make him look good. We'll put Garnet's burst effect up. So basically his HP plus is either going to be Royal Sword, Mythgraven Blade, Apocalypse, or Icebrand. And they basically mimic LDs of other characters. So Royal Sword is kind of like Onion Knights, where it'll move the allies' turns up, which is actually pretty good. Mythgraven Blade basically just does healing, which is like what Paladin and Sessa would do. Apocalypse delays all targets for 2 turns, so that's similar to like what Cloud does. And then Icebrand, it does a battery and a launch, very similar to what Ramza does. So he has a lot of things he can do, right? So like he can heal, he can delay, he can launch. He's got all that different stuff that he can do. The problem is they're not things that you can rely on, right? So you have to be okay with those kind of coming up randomly. So something to note about Gilgamesh, he's a hard character to bring in to like fulfill an orb, right? So let's say there's like a launch orb. Well, you can't necessarily bring Gilgamesh for that because you don't know how often you're going to get the launch off, right? So you just have to be okay with him kind of as is and like his kit for what it is. I didn't even realize my Gilgamesh just has like the little bronze axe equipped. I didn't even realize. Well, he has his real weapon equipped, but it's just the weapon skin, right? I have the weapon skin on for the bronze weapon. That's kind of funny. All right, we'll go ahead and just throw some debuffs on here. And then we'll get to his next turn. So other than like kind of like the LD doing its thing and doing like the random HP attacks, his kit is just fairly simple. We'll get these enemies broken here. Alright, and then we'll get Gilgamesh up. Something that's, I think, actually one of his better utility things that he has is he has gravity in his kit. So we'll show that off really quick here. Oh yeah, that's right, these enemies are going to go off on me. So we have to use the HP pluses kind of often to keep this orb going. So we'll do that here. So here we got Ice Brand. So just know that this is going to change. So Ice Brand is going to be a battery and launch. So let's go ahead and use that. And this is a free turn, by the way. So that is the nice thing, is even though the HP attack is random, it is a free turn. So then he's going to get another action right after. And you'll see on this event that does tick the orb up. Okay, so we did that. And then what's going to happen is that'll just kind of keep cycling like the next time we see him. So let's go ahead and do Deathclaw. So this is the Deathclaw attack. So you can see the damage there wasn't too crazy. The thing that makes Deathclaw pretty good though is that it has 100% gravity. So like no matter what type of Brave the bosses have on, they're basically going to get broken. So that's kind of cool with that part, right? So that's what that does. And then that also gives him the Kotetsu. Now, he did start with Kotetsu, but that's what would give him that Kotetsu. The Kotetsu, basically, it's just a Brave attack, but it puts melee resist down. And that is another useful thing that Gilgamesh has. Because melee resist down is not a very common thing, right? So what we're going to do here is we'll just let Garnet do her thing. So we'll do this. And I think we'll just use a summon here so I don't have to worry about those orbs ticking. Okay, so what we'll do is, yeah, let's just do a summon here. Alright, and since we have it, we'll use the Mythgraven Blade. So the Mythgraven Blade, that one is healing the party. So we'll do that. So we'll go ahead and throw that down. Once again, this is a free turn, free action. Okay, so yeah, 300k. Like, his damage is okay, but he's not, like, in the million damage club, right? So he's one of those more, like, utility types. So let's do Kotetsu. So Kotetsu, you see, is just a Brave attack, but we did get a one-turn melee resist down. So if you're running him in comps with a lot of melee characters, like, that can actually be very good, very effective, right? All right, and so we'll let Garnet pop off here, sure. All right, and then we'll look at Wild Dance. So Wild Dance, pretty much like on your off turns, this is the attack you want to do. So let's do Wild Dance. Well, no, we got the free Mythgraven Blade. So this is what makes Gilgamesh good, is that he's not doing the most damage, but like every time his turn pops up, he's getting a free attack in front of everything he does when you have that LD buff on, right? So let's go ahead and do Wild Dance next. So basically, this is what gives him Genji Blade, but he kind of starts with that anyways. And then it just gives him a generic stat buff that just kind of helps out his auras and things like that. It also helps him getting more crits and crit damage. So just know that that's kind of putting some buffs on. You just want to be using that basically on the turns in between when you're not sure what to do. You want to use that. We have to look at the EX because we haven't got his EX off yet. So once we get his EX off, we might be just about there. So let's go ahead. Garnet can do this. Okay. And once again, I'm not using the BT, but just to remind you, his BT effect basically is just like stat gain, or it's like auras for the party, and it's kind of like Bart's where you have to get some stacks using himself to stack every time he gets a turn, right? Okay, so now we've got Hurricane, which is the EX, right? So basically, once he gets it the first time, it's a fairly fast charging EX. It should be about 2 turns to recharge. It does give him an extra use of Wild Dance, which doesn't really matter. You're not really going to run out of skills, but does do a delay. And then it grants some more like buffs. Okay, so that's basically what it's going to do. So let's go ahead and put Hurricane down. So we should see a delay here. Yep, so there's the delay. And you can see 500k to 1, 174k. It's not like the craziest damage, right? But it's something. And like I said, Gilgamesh, if you like him, if you go all in, keep in mind, mine is just LD only. I don't have blue armor. So, like, he would be doing more damage if you fully invested, like, BT. If you went Ultima Weapon, then all of his numbers are getting pushed up and he's looking a lot better, right? So, if you like Gilgamesh, he's not a bad character. It's just there's, like, way better characters right now than him. So, he's not, like, the character I recommend you go into. But, yeah, you can see with these alternate attacks here, going through pretty good. So, anyways, there you go, guys. There's the character guide on Gilgamesh. Let me know what you think of him. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one.